How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, June 30th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and with this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Tuesday, June 29th, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that goes on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Of course, starting with the NHL because the NHL is in the Stanley Cup final round. There was no playoff hockey yesterday, but Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals will take place tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on NBC Sports Network. Right now, these Central Division champs and the defending Stanley Cup champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, currently hold a 1-0 series lead over the North Division champs, the Montreal Canadiens. So many people are going to keep their eyes on this series. That's what's going on with the NHL. Jumping on to the only game that happened in the NBA yesterday, it was Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the 5th seed Atlanta Hawks and the 3rd seed Milwaukee Bucks. In this matchup, the 5th seed Atlanta Hawks would get the win as they beat the Bucks 110-88. After the Bucks' elite forward Giannis Antetokounmpo would go down with a knee injury, which may look like a year-long recovery. But for the Milwaukee Bucks in this matchup, their leading scorer was their starting point guard, Drew Holiday, out of UCLA. He finished with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists in 38 minutes as he shot 6 for 17 from the field and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Also in their starting lineup, their elite starting power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo, out of Greece, would finish with 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists in 24 minutes as he shot 7 for 10 from the field. For the 5th seed Atlanta Hawks, their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard for the day, Lou Williams. He finished with 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists in his first start of the season, starting over Trae Young, because Trae Young was out due to an ankle injury. Lou Williams would play 35 minutes as he shot 7 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. And then their starting shooting guard, Bogdan Bogdanovic, would finish with 20 points and 5 assists, as well as 4 steals in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 19 from the field and 6 for 14 from 3. With this win, the 5th seed Atlanta Hawks have evened up this Eastern Conference Finals series at 2. Now this series becomes a best of 3, as the next team that wins 2 games will be the team out of all the 15 teams out of the Eastern Conference to punch their ticket into the 2021 NBA Finals. Looking forward to what's going on today, looking out to the other side of the country, it will be Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals as it takes place in Staples Center out here in Los Angeles, where I currently am, as the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers are currently trailing the 2nd seed Phoenix Suns by a game in the series. The Suns lead the series 3-2. A win here could clinch a spot into the NBA Finals for the Phoenix Suns, and the Clippers need to win 2 more games if they need to make it into the finals. Right now, that's what the NBA is looking like. Taking a look at what's going on the Diamond, starting off in Washington, D.C., the Washington Nationals hosted the Tampa Bay Rays. The Nats would pull off a 4-3 home win after scoring all 4 of their runs in the first couple innings. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the start and the loss will go to Rich Hill. He allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Rich Hill is 6-3 on the season. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would have more than 1 hit. A lot of that can be attributed to great pitching from Washington. For the Nationals, the start and the win went to Joe Ross. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6.1 innings pitched. He struck out 7. With this win, Joe Ross is 5-7, and the save will go to Brad Hand. Hand allowed only 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he picked up his 18th save of the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, but their left fielder, Kyle Schwarber, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 25th home run of the season yesterday. He's at 15 in the last 17 games, which is virtually unheard of. With this win, the Washington Nationals are now 39-38. That is the second best record in the National League East. They have now won their last 3 games in 8 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 3 games in the division. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 47-33. That is the second best record in the American League East, as they have now lost their last 2 games, and they have lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 2 games in the division, and they are currently holding on to the top American League wildcard spot as they sit half a game ahead of the second-place Oakland Athletics. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the Miami Marlins, and the Phillies were able to pull up a 4-3 win, scoring all 4 of their runs before the Marlins could score their 3. For the Marlins in this matchup, the start and the loss would be given to Trevor Rogers. Rogers allowed 2 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 9. With this loss, Trevor Rogers is 7-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their right fielder, Adam Duvall, will go 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 17th home run of the season. For the Philadelphia Phillies, the start and the win will go to Vince Velasquez. He allowed no earned runs and only 2 hits in 7 innings pitched. He struck out 7 on the day, picking up his third win of the season. He's now 3-2 for 2021. And the save for Philly would go to their closer, Jose Alvarado. Alvarado would allow 2 earned runs in 1.1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. That would be his 3rd save of the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, as their first baseman, Rhys Hoskins, would go 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run, hitting his 17th home run of the season. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are 37-40. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East, as they have won 4 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 5 games in the division. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are now 33-45. That is the worst record in the National League East, and that is the 4th worst record in the entire National League. They have lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 9.5 games in the division. Jumping out to the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the Los Angeles Angels, and the Yankees were able to pull off an 11-5 home win, scoring 10 of their 11 runs in the first 4 innings. For the Angels, the start and the loss would be given to Andrew Heaney. Heaney would allow 7 earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Andrew Heaney is 4-6 on the season for Anaheim, or for the Angels. In their batting lineup, their designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani, would go 2-for-5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as Ohtani would hit his 27th and 28th home runs of the season. I think he was one of the best hitting performances of last night. Alongside him, their elite third baseman, Anthony Rendon, would go 2-for-3. And then their shortstop, Jose Iglesias, would go 3-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 6th home run of the season. For the New York Yankees, the start and the win would go to Jameson Taillon, as he allowed 5 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, Taillon is 3-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, their catcher, Gary Sanchez, would go 2-for-5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 14th home run of the season. Their elite right fielder, Aaron Judge, would end up going 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 18th home run of the season. Their elite shortstop, Gleyber Torres, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run, and their left fielder, Miguel Andujar, would go 3-for-4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 6th home run of the season. With this win, the New York Yankees are now 41-38. That is the 4th best record in the American League East, as they have won 5 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 7.5 games in the division, and they currently trail the Oakland Athletics for the 2nd American League wildcard spot by 5, as they sit behind the Indians and the Blue Jays in the same race. Jumping out to Buffalo, the Toronto Blue Jays hosted the Seattle Mariners and were able to pull off a 9-3 home win, scoring 7 of their 9 runs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings combined. For the Mariners, the start would go to Chris Flexen. Flexen would allow 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The loss would go to their first relief pitcher, Rafael Montero. He allowed 3 earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. With this loss, Montero is 5-3 on the season. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Mitch Haniger, would go 2-for-4 with a run. Their first baseman, Ty France, would go 2-for-4 with 3 RBIs and a run, as France hit his 8th home run of the season. And then their catcher, Tom Murphy, would go 2-for-3. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the start and the win would go to Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray would allow 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 10. With this win, Robbie Ray is 6-3. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Marcus Semien, would be the best hitter on the day, in my opinion. He would finish a triple shy of the cycle, as he would hit his 19th double of the season, and he would hit his 19th home run of the season. He would go, like I said, 3-for-5 with 5 RBIs and 2 runs. Their shortstop, Bo Bichette, would go 2-for-5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 15th home run of the season. Their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., would go 2-for-4 with a run. Or their right fielder, Teoscar Hernandez, would go 2-for-4. And their left fielder, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., would go 2-for-3 with a run. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 41-36. That is the third best record in the American League East. They have now won their last 3 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 6.5 games in the division, and they currently trail the Oakland Athletics for the second American League wildcard spot by 4 games, as they only trail the Cleveland Indians in that American League wildcard race. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are now 41-39. That is the third best record in the American League West. They have lost their last 2 games, but they've only lost 3 of their last 10. They now trail the Houston Astros by 7 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to Boston, the Boston Red Sox hosted the Kansas City Royals, and the Red Sox were able to pull off a 7-6 win after they were trailing 6-5 at the bottom of the 6th. It would end up being a 2-run double from JD Martinez to give the Red Sox their 49th win of the season. For the Royals, the start would go to Brad Keller. Keller would allow 6 earned runs in 5 innings pitched. With this, the loss would end up going to the Royals' first relief pitcher, Jake Brentz. Brentz would go on to allow an earned run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 3. He would blow his second save of the season, but with this loss, he's 2-1. In their batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Whit Merrifield, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 8th home run of the season yesterday. Their designated hitter, Ryan O'Hearn, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run, as he would hit his 6th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Hunter Dozier, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs, and then their center fielder, Michael Taylor, would end up going 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run, as he hit his 7th home run of the season. For the Boston Red Sox, however, the start would go to Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta would allow 6 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The win would go to the Red Sox first relief pitcher, Yaxel Rios. He allowed no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched as he struck out 1. The save would go to Matt Barnes. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out all 3 of the batters he faced. That would be his 18th save of the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Kike Hernandez, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their elite designated hitter, JD Martinez, would go 2 for 2, a perfect 2 for 2 with 2 walks with 4 RBIs and a run. And then their first baseman, Bobby Dalbec, would go 2 for 3 with a run. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 49-31. That is the best record in the American League East, and that is the best record in the American League. The only team with more wins than them this season are the San Francisco Giants, as they currently hold the same record as the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Red Sox have won their last 5 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They now sit 2 games ahead of the second-place Tampa Bay Rays in the division. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 33-45. That is the worst record in the American League Central. That is currently the 3rd worst record in the American League. They've lost their last 7 games, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They now currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 13 games in the division. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the San Diego Padres. The Padres were able to pull up a 5-4 win after scoring all 5 of their runs in the first 4 innings. For the Cincinnati Reds in this matchup, the start and the loss would be given to Tony Santillan. Santillan would allow 3 runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Santillan is 1-2 on the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Joey Votto, would go 2 for 4 with a run. And then their center fielder, Shogo Akiyama, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. For the San Diego Padres, the start would be given to Craig Salmon. Salmon allowed 1 earned run in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 1. The win would go to the Padres setup man, Emilio Pagan. Pagan would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 3. With his win, Pagan is 4-0. The save would go to their closer, Mark Melancon, as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched and struck out 1. He would pick up his 25th save of the year, which I believe leads baseball. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Tommy Pham, would end up going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 9th home run of the season. The right fielder, Will Myers, would go 2 for 5 as well. With this win, the San Diego Padres are now 48-33. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West, as they now have won their last 2 games, and they've won 9 of their last 10. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 3 games for the division, and they now trail the they're right now holding on to the 2nd National League wildcard spot. They sit a game and a half behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, the defending champs, and they sit 5.5 games ahead of the Chicago Cubs, who are the first team on the outside looking in, to give you a sense of how not close the wild card race is. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 39-39. That is the third best record in the National League Central, as they have now lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 7 games in the division. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves hosted the New York Mets, and the National League East leading New York Mets were able to pull off a 4-3 win after coming back from being down 3-0. James McCann would hit a 3-run home run to tie the game, and then Francisco Lindor's RBI single would be what it took for the Mets to win this game. For the Atlanta Braves in this matchup, the start will go to Charlie Morton. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The loss will go to the Braves' first relief pitcher, A.J. Minter. Minter would allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Minter is 1-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Guillermo Heredia. He will go 2 for 3 on the day. Their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, would go 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run, as his 3-run home run was the only scoring play for the Braves on the day. And then for the New York Mets, the start would be given to Tyler McGill. McGill would allow 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 8. The win would go to the Mets' first relief pitcher, Drew Smith. Drew Smith would go on to allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he walked 2, but he would pick up his 3rd win of the year. He's now 3-1 this season. The save would go to Edwin Diaz as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch. That would be his 17th save of the season. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their catcher, James McCann, would go 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 7th home run of the season. With this win, the New York Mets are now 41-34. That is the best record in the National League East. They are currently holding on to the 3rd seed in the National League at the moment. They've won 5 of their last 10 games, and they currently sit 3 games ahead of the second-place Washington Nationals in the division. With this loss, the Atlanta Braves are now 37-41. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They now have lost 5 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the New York Mets by 5.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Houston, the Houston Astros hosted the Baltimore Orioles, and the Orioles were before I get to that, with this win, the New York Mets are now 41 I already mentioned that. But jumping out to Houston, the Houston Astros hosted the Baltimore Orioles, and the Orioles were able to pull up a 13-3 win. After the game was tied at 5, but the game was tied at 3 at the end of the 5th inning. The Orioles would score 10 runs in the last 3 innings, 9 in the last 2, in order to pick up their 26th win of the season. For the Houston Astros, the start would go to Jose Urquidy. Urquidy would allow 1 earned run in 1.1 innings pitched. The loss would go to the Astros' 3rd relief pitcher, Ralph Garza Jr., as Garza Jr. allowed an earned run in 0.2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Garza is 0-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Yordan Alvarez, would end up going 2 for 5 with a run, and then the only other player with more than 1 hit was their catcher, Martin Maldonado. Maldonado would go 2 for 3. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start was given to Travis Lakin Sr. He would allow 1 earned run in 1.2 innings pitched as he walked 3. The win will go to the Orioles' 2nd relief pitcher, Alexander Wells. Wells would allow 2 earned runs in 2.2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's now 1-0. The save will go to the Orioles' closer, Dylan Tate. Tate would allow no earned runs in 2.2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. That would be his first save of the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Cedric Mullins, would go 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 14th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Austin Hayes, would go 2 for 6 with 3 RBIs. Their designated hitter, Anthony Santander, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would hit his 5th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Ramon Urias, would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 walks. He finished with 2 RBIs and 3 runs, as Urias would hit his 3rd home run of the season. Their third baseman, Michael Franco, would end up going 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. And then the Orioles catcher, Austin Wynns, would end up going 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 2nd home run of the year. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 26-54. That is the worst record in the American League East, and that is currently the worst record in the American League, as the only team with a worse record at the moment are the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Baltimore Orioles have won their last 2 games, and they've won 3 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 23 games in the division. With this loss, the Houston Astros are now 48-32. That is the best record in the American League West, and they are currently holding on to the second best record in the entire American League at the moment. They have now lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They now sit a game and a half ahead of the second place Oakland Athletics within the division. Jumping out to Chicago, the South Side, the Chicago White Sox hosted the Minnesota Twins, and the White Sox were able to pull off a 7-6 win, scoring 4 of their 7 runs in the 5th inning. For the Minnesota Twins, the start and the loss would go to Kenta Maeda. Maeda would allow 7 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, he is now 3-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz. He would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. For the Chicago White Sox, the start and the win would go to Lucas Giolito. Giolito would allow 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 1. With this win, Giolito is 6-5 on the season, and the save would go to their elite closer, Liam Hendriks. Hendriks would allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. That would be his 21st save of the year. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Andrew Vaughn, would end up going 2 for 3 with a run, and the only other player with more than 1 hit on the team was their right fielder, Gavin Sheets. He would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are 46-32. That is the best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 3 of their last 10 as they're holding on to the 3rd seed in the American League at the moment. They now sit 2.5 games ahead of the second place Cleveland Indians in the division to give a sense of where they are. With this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 33-44. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central as they've only lost 3 of their last 10 games. Alongside the Detroit Tigers, they sit 12.5 games behind the division-leading Chicago White Sox at the moment. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Brewers hosted the other Chicago team, the Cubs, and the Brewers were able to pull off a 2-1 win after the Cubs would even it up in the 4th inning off of a Patrick Wisdom double, but then Jace Peterson's RBI single would give the Brewers the lead that they needed for the end of the game to pick up their 47th win of the year. For the Chicago Cubs, the start and the loss will go to Zach Davies. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Zach Davies is 5-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Jock Peterson, would go 2 for 4 on the day as he was the only player for the Cubs with more than 1 hit. For the Milwaukee Brewers, the start and the win would go to Brandon Woodruff. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he would go on to strike out 8 batters on the day. With this win, Brandon Woodruff is 7-3 on the season. The save will go to their elite closer, Josh Hader, who allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched. He would strike out 2 batters as he picked up his 20th save of the season. In the Brewers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their elite left fielder, Christian Yelich, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run, as the Brewers were only held to 2 hits all day, but they still came all away with the win. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are 47-33. That is the best record in the National League Central. They are currently holding on to the 2nd seed in the National League at this moment. They've won their last 7 games, and they've won 9 of their last 10. They now sit 5 games ahead of the Chicago Cubs in the division. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 42-38. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They have now lost their last 5 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 5 games in the division at the moment. And right now, they are the first team on the outside of the National League wildcard race, as they now trail the San Diego Padres by 5.5 games for the wild card. Jumping out to St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they were able to pull off a 3-2 home win. For the Arizona Diamondbacks on the night, the start and the loss would go to Caleb Smith. Caleb Smith would allow 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this loss, Caleb Smith is 2-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Josh Van Meter, would end up going 2 for 4 on the day. He was the only player on the Diamondbacks with more than 1 hit. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the start and the win would go to Carlos Martinez. Martinez would go on to allow only 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Carlos Martinez is 4-9 on the year, and the save would go to Alex Reyes. Alex Reyes would go on to allow no earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. That would be his 19th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their right fielder Tommy Edman would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And then their elite third baseman Nolan Arenado would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 16th home run of the season. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 39-41. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They have now won their last 2 games, and they've won 4 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 8 games in the division. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 22-59. That is the worst record in the National League West. That is the worst record in the National League, and that is the worst record in the entire major leagues. They've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They now trail the San Francisco Giants, the best team in baseball, by 29 whole games, to give a sense of how big that gap is. And so right now, that is what the Diamondbacks are looking like following this loss. Jumping out to Denver, the Colorado Rockies hosted the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they were able to shut out the Pirates 8-0 thanks to amazing pitching and an amazing complete game, and only 1 hit allowed from their starting pitcher, German Marquez. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, first off, the start and the loss would go to Chase DeYoung. DeYoung would allow 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, DeYoung is 0-3 on the season. The only player on the Pittsburgh Pirates to register a hit would be their left fielder, Ka'ai Tom. And, of course, good hit for him. For the Colorado Rockies, the start and the win will go to German Marquez. He would allow no earned runs, 1 hit, and 1 walk in 9 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, he is now 7-6 on the season, and in their batting lineup, their elite right fielder Charlie Blackmon would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their second baseman Garrett Hampson would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their first baseman Josh Fuentes would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher, Elias Diaz, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the season. And then their pitcher, German Marquez, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs, in addition to only allowing 1 hit on the day. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 33-47. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 17.5 games in the division, as they've won their last 2 games and 4 of their last 10. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 29-49. That is the worst record in the National League Central, and that is the 2nd worst record in the National League. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 17 games in the division. Jumping out to the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers were able to pull off a 5-4 road win, as their 2 runs in the 9th came from a 2-run home run from Nick Solak, which just put them out of reach for an Athletics comeback. For the Athletics, the start and the loss would go to James Kaprielian. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Kaprielian is 4-2 on the season. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Jed Lowry, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. Jed Lowry would go on to hit his 7th home run of the season. Their elite third baseman, Matt Chapman, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 11th home run of the season. And for the Texas Rangers, the start and the win would go to Mike Foltynewicz. He allowed 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The save would go to Ian Kennedy, the Rangers closer, as he allowed 2 earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. That would be his 14th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their right fielder Joey Gallo would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 17th and 18th home runs of the season yesterday. Their catcher Jonah Heim would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And their second baseman Nick Solak would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Solak would hit his 9th home run of the season yesterday. With this win, the Texas Rangers are 31-48. That is the worst record in the American League West, and that is the 2nd worst record in the American League. They've won their last 4 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Houston Astros by 16.5 games in the division at the moment. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 47-34. That is the 2nd best record in the American League West, as they have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Houston Astros by 1.5 games in the division. and they are currently holding on to the second American League wildcard spot as they sit half a game behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays, and they sit 2 games ahead of the Cleveland Indians, who are the first team on the outside of the wildcard picture looking in. Last but not least, jumping out to Dodger Stadium, the defending World Series champs hosted the San Francisco Giants, the holders of the best record in baseball, and the Dodgers were able to pull off a 3-1 home win, scoring all 3 of their runs in the first 3 innings. For the San Francisco Giants, the start and the loss will go to Kevin Gausman. He allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Gausman is 8-2 on the year, and in their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, the start and the win would go to their elite starting pitcher Walker Buehler. Buehler would allow only 1 run in 6.2 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, Walker Buehler is 8-1 on the season, and the save would go to Kenley Jansen, the Dodgers' good old reliable closer. He would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. That would be his 20th of the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the Dodgers would finish with more than 1 hit. Their first baseman, Max Muncy, would go 1 for 2 with 2 walks as he finished with an RBI and 2 runs. Muncy would hit his 17th home run of the season yesterday. With this win, the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers are now 49-31. That is the second best record in the National League West, as they have now won their last 5 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. In addition to having the second best record in the West, they have the third best record in all of baseball behind the San Francisco Giants and the American League leading Boston Red Sox, or they have the same record as the Red Sox at the moment, so they're tied for the second best record in all of baseball. Like I said, they won their last 5 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They now sit a game and a half behind the San Francisco Giants in the division, and they now sit a game and a half ahead of the second place San Diego Padres in the National League wildcard slot. And with this loss, the San Francisco Giants are now 50-29. That is still the best record in the major leagues, as they are the only team to have eclipsed the 50-win mark this season. They've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 4 of their last 10. To give a sense of where they sit a game and a half ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers in the division. That's where all of these teams are sitting at the conclusion of yesterday's games. Looking forward to what's going on today in baseball, because of course today is Wednesday. Not much of a travel, or today's sort of a travel day. So starting at 1:15 Eastern Standard Time, Kwang Hyun Kim and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to host Riley Smith and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Kwang Hyun Kim is currently 1-5, sporting a 3.98 ERA. At 2:10, Aaron Ashby and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Jake Arrieta in the Chicago Cubs. That's going to be a well-anticipated matchup. At 3:10, John Gray and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Chad Kuhl and the Pittsburgh Pirates. John Gray is currently 4-6 with a 3.97 ERA. At 4:05, John Lester and the Washington Nationals are going to host Drew Rasmussen and the Tampa Bay Rays. At 4:10, it will be the first game of a doubleheader in Cleveland between the Indians and the Tigers. And the first matchup, Cal Quantrill is going to host Jose Urena. And in the second matchup at 7:10, Logan Allen is going to host Willie Peralta. I'm looking at the other games. At 7 o'clock, Domingo Germán and the New York Yankees are going to host Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Angels. Shohei Ohtani right now is 3-1, holding a 2.58 ERA. Not to mention, this dude hit 2 home runs yesterday, and I believe has is somewhere close to the American League lead if he does not already have it. At 7:05 on ESPN+, Aaron Nola and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Jordan Holloway and the Miami Marlins. Aaron Nola is now 5-4, holding a 3.97 ERA, and Jordan Holloway is now 1-2, holding a 2.55 ERA. Continuing on down, at 7:07, Steven Matz and the Toronto Blue Jays are going to host Justice Sheffield and the Seattle Mariners in Buffalo, New York. At 7:10, Martin Perez and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Mike Minor and the Kansas City Royals. At the same time, Vladimir Gutierrez and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Joe Musgrove and the San Diego Padres. Vladimir Gutierrez is 3-2, holding a 3.97 ERA. Joe Musgrove is 4-6, holding a 2.22 ERA thus far. At the same time, Following that, at 7:20, Max Fried and the Atlanta Braves are going to host David Peterson and the New York Mets. At 8:10, Luis Garcia and the Houston Astros are going to host Matt Harvey and the Baltimore Orioles. Luis Garcia is currently 6-4, holding a 2.83 ERA. At the same time, at 8:10, Dylan Cease and the Chicago White Sox are going to host Bailey Ober and the Minnesota Twins. Dylan Cease is currently 6-3, holding a 3.81 ERA. And then last but not least, at 9:40 Eastern Standard Time, Chris Bassett and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Colby Allard and the Texas Rangers. Chris Bassett is currently 8-2, holding a 3.25 ERA, and Colby Allard is currently 2-3, holding a 3.33 ERA. Right now, that is what baseball is looking like as we enter the final day of June, the third month of this season. And of course, once today's matchups are done, in addition to doing an episode about today's matchups, I will do the leaderboards for at least pitching and hitting thus far this season. And then at the same time, jumping out to check out what's been going on outside the continent in the world of soccer. The last two games of the Euro 2020 tournament happened yesterday, as England was able to beat Germany 2-0 in the first matchup. Raheem Sterling, their elite forward for Man City, would score in the 75th minute, and then they would get a goalie from their elite striker for Tottenham, Harry Kane, in the 86th minute. That would eliminate the 2014 World Cup champs. And then after that, Sweden would face off against Ukraine. And first off, Ukraine would score the first goal in the first half. And then Forsberg would score for Sweden to tie it up at 1. It would end up going into extra time, and then it would be Dovbyk in the 121st minute to give Ukraine their second goal, the goal that they needed to advance to the quarterfinals where they will face off against England. So right now, that is where the Euro 2020s are, as yesterday started with 10 teams and ended with 8. Looking forward to what's going on in the world of soccer today. There is actually no matchups in the Euros or the Copa America, as they are actually both in transitionary stages. The next matchup that will take place will be the Euro 2020 and the Copa America quarterfinals, which will take place on Friday, July 2nd, just to give a sense of how all that's going to play out. With that said, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to all 36 minutes of this piece. I want to thank the NBA, NHL, MLB, and of course, corresponding soccer websites for giving me the data and information that I needed to do these episodes. And once again, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 36 minutes of this episode. I hope all is well. And once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow for another episode. But until then, I want to thank everyone once again. And don't forget to say elite. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out.